Welcome back, everybody, to the speedrun. If you're new around here, this is a speedrun where I'm using an alt account approved by chess.com to teach some instructive chess at the lower levels. My real rating on chess.com is about 2100 right now. And everybody I play will get their points refunded. Okay, we're going to play the London system. As is tradition, of course. What else would we play? And we're getting up into the 500s, which means people generally know what to do out of the opening, at least a little bit. This move is slightly inaccurate against the London, but it's still developing a piece. Usually you want to wait to develop this knight when you're playing against a d4 opening. You actually want to leave room for that c-pawn to come forward. So playing the knight there early is a little bit inaccurate, but it's fine. We can just continue with simple London-like moves. Okay, our opponent's doing a great job just developing their pieces. We will continue to do the same. I imagine the knight will come out next. They're a little bit passive, not taking full control of the center. And okay, we have our first kind of deviation from the opening theory, as it were. Usually moving pawns along the side is something you want to wait to do until a little bit further in the middle game, if at all. This early in the game, you'd rather use your moves to develop your pieces. But I assume the idea is to try and kick our bishop around. We're not super worried about that. In fact, I kind of hope they do that so we can talk about how to play against something like that. We can just move our own bishop out, continuing development. I'm delaying the development of this knight because I'm not quite sure where I want it to go yet. Okay, and they do push the pawn. So we need to save our bishop, obviously. If we go here, it can be captured by the knight. We do get to recapture, but it's like, I don't know. We'd rather keep our bishop on. Usually trading a bishop for a knight this early in the game is not the best idea. So I'm pretty happy to just rock our bishop back to g3. And if our opponent continues being aggressive with the pawns, we will talk about how to do that. Okay, they are. Interesting. Usually you see like the h-pawn, but this sort of thing is decently common as well. So our question is, what does our opponent want with this move? And the answer is, I mean, I really don't know. I assume they want this. But then we get to take and take. They never get this pawn, even though this one that was defending it is gone, because our knight still defends that. Another thing I'm noticing about this like aggression on this side is that it's opened up this diagonal towards the king. So if we can get our queen in there, we can force our opponent to move. And in fact, we might get a quick checkmate if we do something like this and our opponent just continues pushing pawns. We can go like this. Yeah, I kind of like this move. So they could do this, but I think we're actually okay with that. I think in that case, they've flown a little too close to the sun. So let's actually jump our knight into the center. Let's see what the plan is here. Just taking a little time here so we make sure we're being as accurate as possible. Okay, so our opponent does take. So what are our options here? We can obviously take back. That will attack the rook in the corner. I'm also always considering this check because that's a forcing move and it forces our opponent to do something about it. We could potentially consider waiting to even recapture that knight and give the check right away. The problem is the knight can then just drop back and then they've just won a piece. So we have to actually capture the knight first. I think the bishop is a good piece to do that. And then we'll talk about giving the check next, because I think they're probably going to move their rook. Or they could block, I guess. All right, they do move the rook. Now, is giving check best? I mean, it seems like a good move. They either have to block the check with the rook, if we give this check is what I'm talking about, or they have to move the king. And, I mean, either way, our queen is getting involved. I don't really see a way it's getting trapped. Yeah, I feel pretty good about just giving this check. Like, if this knight, like, for example, if they block and then say another move, but if this knight ever comes down here, we can take it, or we can just like capture this pawn if that knight ever moves. So our opponent's mistake here right at the beginning was just moving too many pawns for no reason and opening up this weak diagonal next to their king. And I think it's going to be a pretty big problem for them. We're going to pretty quickly continue with our development, get our king to safety, and then just go crazy attacking. It'll be a nice tactical, aggressive game. no matter what our opponent does. And if our opponent doesn't block with the rook and instead they move the king, well, then they can't castle. And that's pretty good for us too, because then the king is just going to be stuck in the center. Okay, they did move the king, so this is pretty good for us. This means they can't castle. Their rook is misplaced. So now I'd like to develop my knight somewhere that it can quickly get over and help with the action over here. I don't think there's really anything else that we can do at the moment. We need to get more pieces involved. So a lot of times the tendency is to just go all in, but we want to bring as many pieces to the party as possible, because we can't just win with a bishop and a queen when our opponent's king is surrounded by more pieces than just that. Like, we could go here and attack the rook, but I just don't think it's super necessary. We could play this move too. Seems kind of fun. But I kind of just like something like this or this, just to quickly castle. I think let's play in the style of Jobava. Bring the knight out to c3. Okay, I was kind of anticipating this move, just kicking my bishop back. Our bishop only has one safe square to go, so let's do that. And now again, this does not trap it. We have enough pieces covering that square, so we should be okay. Our next plan will probably be to castle... I'm debating to castle queenside or kingside. If we castle kingside, at the very least we put a rook on the f-file, which is in line with the king. The problem with that is there's pawns in the way. And there's also a lot of pawns kind of running at us this way. Ooh, okay, interesting. So we can take this, possibly need to do this, actually. So, okay, the other move I'm considering is this move, threatening things like that. The problem is this rook is defending. So the idea would be like here, here, and then, I don't know, rook here, possibly. So maybe it doesn't quite work. I mean, we could also just win a pawn like this. Unless this move comes first. I mean, okay, we have to take. We'll just see what they do. If they take back, then it's easy. We just win a pawn. We are indeed doing that. Importantly, our opponent does not have any checks. Okay, and the other thing I was going to say is our opponent cannot currently trap the queen. They're going to try to, though. They're going to try and go here. So now my idea kind of works. Because the bishop is covering this square where the rook would like to go. If the rook goes here, we win this bishop. And if the rook goes back, we also win the bishop. Is there anything else I'm missing? If we go here and here, we win the rook. Don't think we're getting in too much trouble here. I think this seems like a pretty okay move. Any tips on getting a coach, and at what level is it worth it? I've had some coaching, but I mean, I was able to climb from not knowing how the pieces moved up to 2,000 without a coach. There's a lot of online resources that are available, but I know chess.com has a pretty extensive page of coaches, and I think it really depends on like personality and the way that you like to learn. Are faster, shorter puzzles better or longer ones? I mean, I use a combination of both. I think like Puzzle Rush, Puzzle Storm type of thing is good for your pattern recognition, and then longer ones are good for practicing calculation. Ooh, this is fun. Okay, so our opponent... Wow, I didn't even consider this move. This is a nice try, bringing the knight down, which defends the rook and also blocks my queen from being able to capture that bishop. After we capture here, if black captures back, then we have removed the defender. Sorry, I'll simplify the arrows a little bit. If we capture here, after black captures back, we've removed the knight's defense of this rook, so we get to take it. The question there is, are we trapped? Which I just don't think we are. I mean, the bishop can come back here, but I think we always just have this to bail out, and then we're just escaping. So, okay, yeah, removing the defender. We're going to win a piece here. They've moved a pawn. We have... I think our best move is probably capturing here. So a good way to think about attacking is, okay, let's find all of our checks and see if any of them work. If we check here, and our opponent moves the rook to block, or the bishop to block, that moves out of the way so we can grab that other bishop. If we go here, and our opponent goes maybe here, then we're starting to look at mating ideas like this. I don't think it's quite mating because they still have that light scored bishop. And if we go here and they go this way, again, we have the other bishop coming in. So we're, okay, at the very least, we're winning a pawn here. We can't check anywhere on the back rank because the bishops are covering that. I think castling oddly enough, seems like a pretty good idea here. Again, just looking at any way our queen could get trapped, and I don't think it can. The only thing that would be similar to that is if they could bring the queen in, but then it's just a queen trade, and who cares about that? We'd love to trade queens since we're up an entire rook and 2 pawns. So if we castle this way, our rook's going to end up on this square, staring down at the queen. And yeah, that looks pretty good. Maybe taking here was a better idea. Just opening up more files in front of the king. Not quite sure. I'm pretty happy to just sort of play solid chess here. Oh. Yeah, but then I can move the bishop with a discovered check. And it's like almost mate, almost in a way, kinda. So as soon as this bishop moves, it's gonna be a discovered check. We're at the very least winning a queen here. If we go here, it's a double check. That means the king has to move. And if we go here, I mean, there's pieces that can block, but eventually, like, it'll be forced to go here. Then my thought is just checkmate, pretty much. It's at the very least close. The problem is after here, they do have this escape square. But I mean, we're still winning a queen in that instance. So is the double check best, or do we go here? Like, usually if you're questioning, then that means the double check is the best. But I think in this case, we're just winning a piece with best play, or an additional piece in addition to the queen. So I think we're actually going to go with this one. Gotta speed up a little bit here. I'm down a lot of time. I keep just not considering some of their moves, but whatever. We're still winning the queen. Yeah, I'm pretty happy to take that. Not even going to question if there was a better mate or something. I want a queen. Thank you very much. We're eventually going to get to the place where we don't just win free queens all the time, but today's not that day. We can go here. If they block, we can go here. We can go here. We can go here. Oh, we can even do stuff like this. All right, I think I like giving a check. Again, just these forcing moves, they just kind of play themselves. You just have to make sure you're calculating far enough that, you know, you're not getting your queen trapped or something. But I mean, even in this case, we'd still be up material. Okay, so we have this move, which wins a piece. We have this move, which, I mean, might as well win a piece. Okay, I'm going to bring another piece into the party. It's a party in here. I think we just continue trading down. When you're up material, it's pretty good to trade. So the question is, do we take the rook or the bishop? I think we got to take the bishop first, because if we take the rook first, then they get this, and it's not as fun. So we're just going to trade like this. All right, and now we have... Oh, it's like so close to mating here. Let's give this check first. I'm just holding off with the rooks, because I think I might have better. I have to go here. Maybe I don't have better. I'll probably have to trade the rooks anyway. Oh, I guess they can block too. But then that hangs the rook, because it was just removing the defender. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm still happy to be up a queen. It's not quite mate, but we'll get there eventually. Let's bring our other piece in. Bit annoying that they're covering the dark squares where I'd like to check, but we'll figure it out eventually. I mean, frankly, we can even just sack the knight and get rid of these pawns, and then we just have a queen. But let's give this check first. See where our opponent goes. I'm being too lazy to actually calculate if there's a mate, but let's go here with the check. And let's go... I'm down so horrendously on the time. Where's a good place for this guy? Here? Here? I don't know. Let's just bring him back. Oh, okay. Okay, now we have this check. Now we do have this check. Now we have this check. I'm just trying desperately to find this mate so we can end the game. I don't think it's here, though. Okay, now this. Threatening here. There's something to this, I promise. At the very least, we're going to get our pieces off. Okay, this move, I think it's just a back rank. This move, they have to block. And then we have basically a back rank checkmate. The queen will cover this square and this square. All right, there we go. Checkmate! Take a quick look at this game. Oh, what was best here? Oh, this makes way more sense. Here and here is just unstoppable. Okay.